how do you approach teaching students entrepreneurship? What's the style? How do you even begin that as a topic? And I
That
sat through your classes and I sat
You
through
have to
entrepreneurship.
keep
I
their
went through that,
attention, though.
but I really can't remember what I was told to get this information, to feel this way.
Well, that raises a great question that even transcends education. When it's about lifelong learning and innovation, and I'll explain that in a second. When I taught your class, which was mid 2000 2010s, right, mid to late
Yeah,
2010s.
maybe a little earlier than that. May have
Yeah,
been.
I'm trying to be kind to both of us.
It's
But it was the way things were taught were through case histories. Let's look at
yes,
what this company did. Let's break
yes.
it down and analyze it. Well, that's great, except people don't write case histories about many startups, and most startups don't make it. So
Mm.
what we learn is we can
Hmm.
study the case history of Apple, but we're studying the case history of Apple after it's a multi-million-dollar company. We're not looking at all the subtle pain points that they went through early on, and so it didn't get taught,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
And so I think myself and other people who taught entrepreneurship back then were building up maybe a sense of false expectations, right? That you could do this just by not making the mistakes that we studied in the case history. When in reality,
Right.
there's a lot more subtlety, discipline to it that has to be mastered. And a professor and a serial entrepreneur himself out in Silicon Valley named Steve Blank understood this dynamic, and he was asked to teach a course. I believe it was at Berkeley or Stanford. I'm not sure which one he started first. He taught at both schools, and he began to step back and say, "Well, wait a minute. What are all the things that an entrepreneur needs to go through to be successful that are down at the detail level, not at the 30,000 foot level?" And he built this process that has sort of two elements to it. One is called the lean startup, right? How do I
Mhm.
start a company with the minimal amount of resources? And then a process called customer discovery, which looks at 9 different vectors to a business. How do I find who my target customers are? How do I really find them? I do it by interviewing, by going out and just talking to people, just like
Mhm.
a politician does. How do I find out what
Hmm.
their problems are, and how do I build something that solves their problems? How do I then figure out how I'm going to get it out into the marketplace? Because I'm just, one or two person company. What partners do I need, maybe to build the thing, or to sell it? And he went through these 9 quadrants, which is now called a business model. And what happened when he did that
Mm.
was the emphasis shifted from a startup had to write a business plan,
Mm.
a business plan that was 300 pages thick and very detailed,
Yes.
and it was all BS, right? It
Mhm.
was all guessing because you're a startup. How do I know
Yeah.
where I'm going to be in 5 years? To
Tell me
building a
about it.
to building a business model that says, okay, here's how I'm going to go about building my business, and here's why I think it can work.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
and so that became a, a much more easy, a much more structured way of finding out, is my business going to work before I even go out and start to try and raise money and make commitment.
Right.
And it lets me experiment within that process. So let's say I'm building, blue widgets, and I think that middle-aged men are my target customer. Well, I go out and I talk to middle-aged men, and I talk to them about what problems they have with widgets, and I find out, oh, middle-aged men don't have a problem with blue widgets. You know, so where am I going to look next? Well, let me try, um, you know, men in their 20s to 30s who are living in cities. Well, okay, I do. There's where I find the problem, and now I can be much more targeted, much more precise in what I'm building, who I'm building it for,
Hmm.
and in going out and getting investment and saying, I know who my market is, right? Whereas before
Mhm.
it was take a dart and throw it and hope on both sides, the investor and
Mhm.
the startup. So
Okay.
we're much more precise with this model. And so that's what we teach in school now. But the
Okay.
cool part is it's not just an academic exercise. That's what venture capitalists use now. The
Mhm.
National Science Foundation has a program called ICOR, which the University of Maryland has been a big supporter of and is deeply involved with it. they use that process. So what's happened is we now have a language of the entrepreneurial process that before it was like the Tower of Babel. We were all saying different things and it meant different things to different people. Now we're all talking the same language. And so I can teach that. And when you get out and you go use it in the real world, the people you're going to interact with are going to understand that language because they're speaking the same language.
Wow. A lot of stuff you said right there gave me different ideas.
Right.
that I want to utilize because I'm writing a plan right now, and I know my target market, but can I fine tune it? Yes, you can fine tune it, and then why that target audience needs you. So yeah,
because if you think about it, we're all human beings, right? And to my mind, business has one purpose: to solve somebody's problem.
Yes.
If you're not solving a problem for somebody, why should they buy what you sell? Right?
Yeah.
What's their motivation to do it? And so the more I understand who that target segment is and what those problems are, and the more emotional those problems are, the more urgently they want to buy my product, right? And so talking, but there's no way to get data to do that. Data doesn't buy products, right? Human beings buy products. And so you got to go out and just sit down with them and say, tell me.
But that's the basics of life. You have to go out and network. You have to speak to other people, stop hiding behind that data. And we're in a world, even though we have all this data, the data is skewed. We have data, we have AI, but then tomorrow something happened out there that you missed out on because you weren't living life amongst the people. And as fast as technology is changing, people are changing too.
Yes.
Absolutely. Every day, because if we're all lifelong learners, well, we have to change as we learn more. And so our needs are different. But, we can get gobs of data. As you said, it's out there everywhere. So much data that it's overwhelming.
It is.
What we can't, what data isn't really good at is understanding human need.
Yes.
At a micro level, at a level of, what does a certain segment of our population, whether that's a business segment or a consumer segment, what are they struggling to achieve, and how can my business help make their journey easier or better or more effective or more efficient? And if I can figure that out, now I've got a straight line to my product is solving a problem for this group of people, and that's huge.
That's true. And Kwana, I know I've been asking a lot of questions. Kwana, do you have a question for Bill? I know.
I want to know, are you into sci-fi?
Am I what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Are you into sci-fi, like science fiction?
Not as much.
With all the knowledge that you have, is it like?
Well, it's an interesting question. I've never. Some science fiction I enjoy. Some of it just scares me, and I figure life is too short to be scared. But what I've noticed over the last 5 or 6 years is things that once were science fiction are becoming real.
Yes.
Through technology. And so I guess I need to pay more attention to it than I have, because some science fiction writers have proved to be futurists, right? Accurately, at least setting a stage for what's going to happen.
What's to come?
I feel like that's true with Lucas and Star Wars. I mean, I feel like we're doing Star Wars things right in front of our eyes that he was dreaming about, and he created a fan base of those people that actually, I want to create that.
Yeah. Well, think about people going into space.
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago, we're going to go into space for fun, right? Yeah, right. And now we're doing it. Now they're short trips, but they're taking people up who would have conceived that was the realm of science fiction 10, 15 years ago. Right now, it's the realm of reality, and space tourism is now a market that people are starting to look at and figure out how do we do that.
I'm going to stay right here, Bill.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care what's going on up there.
That just reminded me of the Titan, and that just scares the life out of me.
Which one? That's the one that went underwater?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that was scary. That had to be a scary moment.
But, there's enough frontiers here on Earth. It's not
exactly.
That we can explore.
Yeah. We've mapped DNA, and so now we are on a path to cure diseases at a rate that we've never been able to do before.
Yes.
And now our brain mental health is now coming into the forefront.
Yes,
And what triggers our thinking? Well, neuroscience is sort of this field that's starting to understand that. And so, and then, just the environment is a big enough, we'll have to go to another planet if we can't figure out, the environment, what we're going to do. So there's enough to work on.
Right here. So that was a great question, Quada. I never asked Bill. Bill, what do you do to unwind? What do you do to have fun, to kick it?
Oh, wow. Well, at my age, it's not as adventurous as I think it once was. I guess there's 3 or 4 things. One, and it's going to sound very techie. So one, I love photography. And with a camera, which, as you can imagine, they're sophisticated computers now.
Come a long way.
Yeah, and yet, I look at some of these images and I think that's art, right? We're using a technical instrument to create beautiful art. Not all, a lot of it's not, but some photographers who are just
really good.
Composition, lighting, shadows, subject. It's just brilliant. So that's one thing. For exercise, I had some surgery in my leg recently, so I bought an electric bike. So which has proven to be amazing, because I can pedal to build up my leg as much as I can, but when I can't go any further and my wife is a mile ahead of me, I can just put it in battery mode and keep
Zoom
going.
up.
So, and then, getting outside, hiking, fresh air. I've been reading lately about all this change that we're talking about, the pace of change, what that does, how that stresses out our minds and our bodies, and just the sound of birds. The smell of flowers, just what a invigorating and refreshing that does to our bodies and to our psyche. So I'm trying to get out more as I can. And then the internet. I'm always exploring, always reading stuff about science and the internet. The thing is, and this is one of the interesting things about teaching. When you're teaching young people, they are, perpetually inquisitive, and they challenge you all the time. And so you have to stay young, and you have to stay, aware of things. When you stop teaching, all of a sudden you're in a void. Like, wait a minute, that stimulation hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So, what do I do now?
Right. I love it. Good. So no Diddy party.
And I should mention, I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
Really?
So now you have a new favorite one. We have over 300.
I do, absolutely. I do. I learn more from podcasts. I think it's to the point that I actually, in my class, I started using podcasts. Instead of reading articles, there are some podcasts about entrepreneurship. There's one called How I Built This.
Yep.
Which is a great podcast for entrepreneurs. Another one called Freakonomics, which is derived from a book, which really goes into a lot of very interesting detail about how industries and products and people evolve. So it's a good teaching tool for my academic discipline as well.
I love that. I love that, because podcasting is the way of the future, and it's so much more than what people assume it to be. It can be pretty much almost anything. And one thing, we were ahead of the curve when we've been doing video podcasts and audio podcasts, because now people are just talking to me about, hey, I'm going to do a video pod. I'm like, I've been doing that for a long time now, so it's all good. I love that. And then people are telling me they're putting this into schools and things of that nature. So I am super into this right here, this realm, and love that you like that. That's great. I don't want to keep you long, Bill. You gave us a ton of information. And I also, like to have our guests ask us any questions they may have. And then I have like maybe 1 or 2 more questions. And if Quana, you have a question as well, and then we could head on out. But Bill, did you have any questions for us?
Yeah, let me start with content just as a, because there's a question about something you raised earlier, content, which is, in your work, you're a content creator, but do you see yourself as a content creator? In other words, when you're working on your performance, are you thinking about what channels do I distribute this to? How do I get this out to a larger audience? How do I think of my work not just as the creation itself, but as content that needs to then be distributed to build a broader audience?
No, I literally started by just not caring. So a lot of my followers, a lot of people that know me that ask me to host shows or do comedies, it's just because I never changed who I was. And Santi will tell you, even as a kid, I was just loud and I was always just me. So I would be basically selling myself. So I don't think of myself as a content creator. I just think of me bringing what I have to the table. And that way I'm not on anybody's level but my own. And now that I've started making a few dollars out of it, I've moved forward into trying to find my demographic, what fits me best, who's really watching me, who really wants to hear me, and what do they want to hear. And a lot of times I learn more from my mistakes than my successes. I've learned that, you can't just wait for your uncle and your aunt to hit the like button. It's going to probably be somebody you don't know that you probably, those hit dogs holler. And so I'll randomly put something out there and that might go viral, and something that I poured my heart into trying to be a content creator can flop.
Yeah.
So I just maintain being who I am on all platforms. So no matter where you see me, that's her being her. She's always going to be her. So I don't think of myself as a content creator. I think of myself as the content.
Okay. So you would put yourself more in the realm of creative artist than content creator.
Yes. I like that better too. I might have to write that down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, creativity is one of the things that's happened as a result of all of our digital technology is we're losing our sense of creativity.
Yes.
And I'll give you a great example. You may appreciate this. I was listening to a podcast on Freakonomics about artificial intelligence a couple of weeks ago. And this researcher at Columbia University said, I'm going to test artificial intelligence because people keep saying it's going to take over who we are and how we are. So she said the most simple thing is to tell a joke. I'm going to try and teach artificial intelligence to tell a joke.
Wow.
And she said it was a miserable failure, right? The only thing she could get was sort of some marginal knock-knock jokes because it can't read someone's face. And it doesn't have the experience of embarrassment and some of the things that make good creative comedy. And that stuck with me and it just fascinated me. And so I guess it means that your world and your industry has a lot more longevity maybe than some other industries do.
Right.
It does, Bill. I was going to ask you another question, and that's great that we went to this talk about content creation. How is college taking on content creation as a business, as entrepreneurs? Because I have friends of my own, Quan and we share a friend who is living off of content creation. He does nothing other than this. And then he's introduced me to other people that are millionaires.
And he started by watching me and me not making any money, me not doing anything, just being myself. He's like, I've been watching you just do it. And you do it effortlessly. And I'm like, because I'm not doing it for anything. I'm just being myself. That's it. And after that, he soared.
He took off. Is college even, the college realm even thinking about that in business? Is that even a thought?
There are some areas that historically have done that. Like if you think of communications, film and media, photography, even journalism, right? Is a form of content creation. In the realm of business, there are a lot of universities that have understood that we need to integrate the idea of the creative side of that with the business side of that, right? Because digital sits in the middle, and digital is both a technology and it's a distribution platform for content. And in my little world of taking pictures, the content itself is digital, right? And now we can do artwork with AI. We can have AI just create art. It's not great yet, but it's getting better. And so that's digital. So I think universities are seeing that. But where I think there's a gap that is slowly starting to close is the idea of performance art.
Mm-hmm.
like comedy, like dance,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like singing, music. Those are all performing arts. How do you start to think of that as content, right? And artists have been doing that maybe without even acknowledging it for a few years, because
Absolutely.
they do an audio version and then they'll do a video. MTV became the center
You know
of
it.
of content. So, but then the third part is, how do you think of it as a business? Right?
Yes.
How do I not just say, "Oh, I just want to get my song out there everywhere," but how do I do it as a business so I'm actually making money off of that?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And there are a few schools. American University has done this quite well. That's actually started a program in the business school called Business and Entertainment. And so, if you see yourself as interested in the entertainment industry, whether as a performance artist, or maybe you want to be a set designer, or maybe you just want to work in the field, in the business side of the field of entertainment, they've got a degree you can now get in business entertainment.
Wow.
UCLA, as you would expect out in LA,
Mhm.
was, I think, the first school that had that, and now other universities are starting to pick up on that.
That's great.
And by the way, I should mention, Santi, that is the most popular major in the business school, is business
Yeah.
and entertainment.
You told me I got to reach
Really?
out. I got to reach out. I got to get there and speak to someone because
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, it's popping. It's I love the fact that I threw my Full Sail degree in with my business degree. It allowed me
Yeah.
to get here and be creating what I'm creating right now.
Right.
I'm so blessed and so happy to have met people like you as well that gave me that idea, made me keep pushing forward because I'm here now. And
Yeah, and you push me, so.
I pushed you. I pushed you hard. I know I pushed everybody hard. But you see the people I was speaking to. This is one of
Yes, I
them.
do.
You know what I mean? So this is why I did that. And Bill,
Understood.
one of the things that you touched on is the about entrepreneurs is the stick to itiveness, the don't give up. Like that is to me like super key because you're going to fail a lot. But you said 10,000 times that it did not work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But if you keep pushing, you keep knocking. For me, I'll tell you something that just recently happened that made me go, this is going to happen. One of the, we had a financial firm on our show.
Mm-hmm.
They reached out to us. I'm speaking to the head of PR.
K Street?
Yes, K Street. And, that's awesome. And then I'm speaking to other real estate firms out here in the market. And I'm speaking to my local government. And I know it's there. Now I just have to make that story better. You know what I mean? Make our story better. So I'm going to pick your brain, Bill. I'm going to shoot you some things at times when we're on LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, I didn't get to ask you
there.
my question of you, Santi, which is, we talked a little bit about this when we spoke last time, but as you see your world evolving, and you have, I think, invested a lot of intellectual capital in looking at the various sides of not just podcasting, but of entertainment, of production. So you have a much, I think, richer, more diverse understanding of many elements within the business. But how do you see that world changing over the next 5 to 10 years, and how does that affect your plans for your business?
Great question, Bill. Whew. So I want to say this one. I saw AI coming back when I was in college. I actually spoke with Dean, when we spoke about Dean Chang and the that department there, and even with Trevor, I remember Trevor Young. I knew that the computer was going to get involved more in entertainment, as far as video editing, audio, something. It was going to do it, and we're here. But anyway, in 5 to 10 years, I feel now the manager of an organization could be sitting in his mom's basement. And similar, but it's very similar to what happened with Silicon Valley. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be there only. It's going to be in India. It's going to be China. It's going to be Japan. I feel like also people have to start focusing on more localized. I think localizing is going to make the roots stronger. If that makes sense to everyone. And then now the city can flourish. The community can flourish because everyone is now a fan within that realm. And then we can build what entertainment we like. Like, for instance, go-go music in DC. It should be in the world. I think the world should be hearing this because it's amazing percussions, the way they create the sounds, and I've learned to appreciate it.
The story of how it began, all of it.
But it's I feel like it's his local, but it has not grown because of locally we haven't just tightened it up a little bit amongst ourselves. And it's happening now as we get older, but that's what I believe is going to happen in 5 or 10 years. And how is it going to affect me? I feel like because I've figured out the localization quite early, I see where we're going to be in 10 years. I feel we're going to be bigger than we are because this is bigger than myself. It's bigger than Quanta, what we've created with All Gas, No Breaks. We're already branched off into a new show. We're going to be branching off into a new media firm. And I'm watching my peers do it as well. And it's succeeding in New York. So I know my business is going to do well. And because I've localized in the youth and the adults and, you know, everyone from within the region are flocking to us finally, my children could hopefully run it, or Quanta's children could run this. You know, that's what I see in the next 5 to 10 years.
Maybe one of them.
I hope so.
I don't know about the rest of them.
Or sell it and become billionaires.
Well, you know, your answer points to what a good entrepreneur you are, because if you think about that idea of localization, there's a void there, right? I mean,
huge.
In the old days, television, we had local television stations that had a lot of local content. Now it's down to just a little bit. You know, we're covering a lot of national stuff, and it's national shows. Maybe in the morning and on weekends we get some local stuff. Even newspapers, you know, the Washington Post, at least in this region, and newspapers in small markets are going under all the time. You know, they're covering big national issues, partly because we're in DC, but newspapers are leaving a void in the local market. And even radio stations are so pre-programmed in the music that they play that there's not a lot of localization where you really get to know people in a local market,
right?
In a way where you can have an emotional connection with them. And so, brilliant. I love your answer. I think that's exactly right.
That's one day I woke up, and I believe in your class. I made a came up with that idea a long time ago because I remember the case studies, Bill, when you brought up the case studies. When you said the case studies, I remember that's how you told us. Yes, it was. We used to love them.
Highlighted.
Yeah, I had to remember, no, because my wife and I, before we went to class, because sometimes he'll give it to us, and we would have a debate about, you know, how that business did and what they should have done and how could we do that when we bring it into, you know, pull it into ourselves.
Nice.
So yes, a long time ago, I knew, I always tell Quanta this story. I hate when I meet people and they say, this artist had to leave here to be well known, or we don't work together here. So one day I said, when everybody up and left us, and it was just me and my partner before Quanta came along and my other partner named OG, I said, I don't want to be that guy. Why don't we be the guys that do work with everybody, that does work with everybody locally, that yes, to me, you are a big star already. I don't care what the world is saying. You're big here, you're big.
You're huge.
And it's been working. It's been working. And it's not because that's what we want for the business. It was just what we wanted for the area. I want it for this area. This area saved my life and I owe it. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm focused on it.
Well, and that's the other point, right? You're fortunate that you're in an area. DC is a very rich, diverse culture, but it hasn't been discovered the way New York or LA or even Nashville, some of those places. Yeah. It is this little gem waiting to just, I mean, they know us for politics, but they don't think of us as much about the culture here, the music.
Yes, right.
And Baltimore is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And Richmond is right around the corner. You have so much.
Philly
is 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So much is close to here and you can enjoy it, but you can be in such different cultures within seconds. But if someone can encompass all of that, and that's what I feel that we are doing, you know, we're going to skyrocket. And it's finally working.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I know you have paid your dues to get there.
Bill, yes, I have.
No, but that, by the way, that's the other thing that makes a good entrepreneur's experience, right? Yeah. Having known, if I do this, I burn my hand, so I'm not going to put my hand in. That helps you significantly. That's why a lot of investors want to know that the CEO of a company they're going to invest in has experience, whether they've succeeded or not, that they've had experience and can talk about that experience. So you've paid your dues, and it's just really rewarding and gratifying to see you at this great place now, where you're really starting to, see it come together, both the product, the revenue, and life, your life itself. All those things starting to fit together. So I'm just so proud of you, so excited for you.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait, Bill. We're going to push it further because I'm working on the business plan currently, and once it's complete, I will definitely, if you're up for reading something, I'll most definitely share with you, and also my whatever paraphernalia I have, because it's expansion time now, and we actually have the story, we have the followership, we have everything they told me I did not have to present and gain what I need. So now I'm here. So let's see what.
Well, it's time to take it to the next level. I know you're already thinking that way because you are an entrepreneur. You've been that way since you've had that entrepreneurial mindset since as long as I've known you.
It's the New Yorker in me, Bill.
Yeah,
it's a real thing. When people say New Yorkers are hustlers, it's a real thing. And you know, Bill.
He's selling ice to Eskimos.
Yeah, well, it's also why the Knicks can beat the Sixers and hopefully go.
Oh man, that's good. I said that so I could pull you in because I know you love basketball. Yeah. These playoffs are amazing. My Miami Heat beat Boston, as I wasn't afraid of. Tyler Hero woke up. The Lakers Nuggets battle going on over there. What do you think's going to happen there? That's the scary one. What do you think?
I think the Nuggets, I don't know. They're just the Lakers just seem to be, they're 2 points away every night. They just, it's hard to explain that because talent by talent, player by player, if you put age aside, the Lakers sure seem like they have pretty good depth of talent, right? LeBron and AD. But they just can't seem to get past that those 2-3 points that they need. So I kind of think the Nuggets are gonna come out of that thing having won, unfortunately, because I love watching LeBron play. And this year he's been amazing. He's got a 3-point game like he's never had before.
And for the age, and I always have to talk about that age.
39. 30, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And how many more years do we get to see him perform at that level? Right?
I don't know, because my knees are already popping.
Yeah. And so I want to see him win one more, with the Lakers. But
good run,
this may not be the year unless there's some amazing comeback.
Well, New York is taking Philly out. Philly's done.
I hope so. I haven't looked at the score. They're playing right now, I think. I haven't looked at the score, but
okay. They're taking them out. But I don't want to keep you looking. I know you want to watch that game.
Oh, no. That wasn't to rush. I was just
okay, no problem.
I'm hoping. As a Knicks fan, the suffering goes back a long way.
Yeah.
We had this story, Bill. They broke my heart. They broke my heart. It's why I'm in Miami with Pat Riley and Zoe. And we're going to take Boston out. My cousins are Boston fans because I have family that lives in Boston. And during this time, we battle. We battle hard online. So you may see some crazy posts from me that I put up there. That's to my cousins.
But it's amazing. If they can do that without Jimmy Butler, what a story.
Yeah.
That's like what the Knicks are doing without Julius Randle. Only I would think Jimmy Butler is even more important to the because of his past record in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that would be incredible.
Yeah, well, and if it does happen, it's all about the coaching. And I'm a Spoelstra fan. I'm a huge Spoelstra fan. I really respect him as a coach.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
By the way, have you gotten to check out Swagger yet?
No, I did not. It is in my list of Bill. I'm at this point now in life when I am like one of my buddies, Van, I talked about the content creator. He's like, Santi, I don't even watch television. And I don't want to get there because I like being up with pop culture.
Yeah.
But to find the time now with writing plans now and pitching, and you got to get the right amount of sleep because entrepreneurs have to understand. I like to let everybody know sleep and eating well is awesome for an entrepreneur because if you don't, why have it if you're sick and then now you're done?
Because you're going to go through a lot of stress and you got to take care of your body.
Can't afford it.
Like an athlete does. But the reason I think you'll love Swagger is it is a fictional version of KD's story growing up and playing AAU basketball in this region. So it's local.
I have to watch it.
It's really well. KD is one of the producers, so it's it hits home.
I have to watch it. I told my wife about it. So when I do that, that's how I get her to watch it with me, and we could binge it together. So I
Yeah,
told
good.
her,
Let her be the driving force.
yeah, that's how I do it. And she's like, did you not watch it? Didn't Bill tell you to watch it? I'm like,
There
okay,
you go.
right, you're right. I got to do it. So Bill, thank you so much for being on the show. We learned a lot from you. I hope to have you on the show again. I tell that to all our guests because it's about growing with each other and learning more from you. And I know you have a vast amount of knowledge. And if you're up for it, Bill, we will always love to just bring you on and maybe even ask you more questions. And then maybe even sometimes I'm even trying to connect my guests with other guests that would not have ever spoken to one another. But just to see
why not?
what that conversation will look like, because you helped me. I can only imagine what you could do for someone younger and on the rise.
For others, yeah.
Well, anytime you like, and I love to help people get into entrepreneurship because I think it is, I think it's where the human side and the business side of people come together, just like, special forces or professional athletes. You're really tested in all levels. So anything I can do, as you know, anything you ever need, let me know. I'm happy to be a guest again. I'm happy to talk to other people. I have a couple of students who at some point might be interesting, regional area, the area's entrepreneurs, former students who one in particular I think might be a really interesting guest.
Great.
So just let me know what I can do anytime you want.
I'm up for it.
That would be awesome.
Bill, my last question that we love to ask everybody on the show is your top 3 motivators in life. 3 things in life that get you going, that make you not give up and keep waking up, ready for the next day.
Wow. Okay. So the first one I think is curiosity. I just, and I guess in a world where it changes so much, that's good, right? There's not enough to satisfy that. These aren't in order, by the way, just the first that comes to mind. Second is family, just always wanting to take care of my family, both my immediate family and my extended family, which I think are students and other people who are sort of in this. I've been fortunate enough to come into the sphere of my life. And I guess the third thing, more recently, has been this country, right? I think it's imperfect in so many ways, but there are so many good things about it that I would hate to see it be dismantled or badly damaged, because I think we're just at the beginning of progress. And so I guess I feel like I've become more patriotic, more optimistic, in a way than I ever, and I think about this more than I ever have previously in my life. So those are 3 things that kind of drive me, and all of them require the fourth thing, which is optimism, right? Which you mentioned, Sante. If we're not optimistic about where we are in life, then why are we even, what are we doing? We live in a place where there's so much opportunity, so many great people. The world is changing. It's going to change so dramatically for the better if we nurture our democracy and other democracies. I think that we're going to end up, just the next 20 years are just exciting to me.
Nice.
Thank you, Bill, for that. Thank you.
That's so dope.
Very good answers. Very dope guest. Very dope individual. I had to get you an all gas, no breaks, Bill, because I knew that the people need to hear from you, because you're the man. And thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. If you could let everyone know your name again, a little bit about what you do again, once again, and Quana, you do the same after Bill, and then we can start rolling out, guys.
Sure. I'm Bill Bellows. I was an entrepreneur for about 25 years in Silicon Valley and in Northern Virginia, and then moved into teaching, where I taught entrepreneurship in the business school at American University for the last 12 years. And prior to that, I taught entrepreneurship in the engineering school at the University of Maryland. And now I just work and counsel various young entrepreneurs trying to figure out how to put the pieces together to build a successful business and a successful life. To reach me, the easiest thing is my email, which is bill.bellows@gmail.com.
Bill Bellows, everybody. And the lady at the top, you're on the top of me right now, Quana, on my Zoom. So the lady up top, then I'm I'm hook it up when I edit this.
No worries. It's your girl, Quana Valen. I am Vala Diva Quana. And I am Quana Valen. I'm also Soul Sister TV on YouTube. I am on Snapchat. I am on TikTok. I'm everywhere you want to be, and you can always find me at All Gas No Break.
Yes, yes. And Quada, did this give you chills? Did you get motivated?
Yeah, I'm doing more listening for the first time than talking. So yeah, I actually got something out of it. Yeah, and I feel a little bit more motivated too. Sometimes when you say it, it makes more sense than when you think it.
I'd say I'm
all gas, no break, baby.
All gas, no break. I'm happy to have you here. And I'm Super Saiyan Santi. You can catch me at Super Saiyan Santi, but most importantly, at All Gas, No Break Podcast. Thank you to everyone that's been subscribing, tuning in, sending messages. I love the community. The community has been fantastic. Right now, we're at 1.9 million people this month. We've reached 1.9 million people, and we are super ecstatic. And then 2.9 million views just last week on YouTube. So we appreciate everyone. We're finally at this level. As you can see, we're talking to more bosses. Keep tuning in. Keep subscribing. Shout out to Red Crocs. Shout out to OG Frank. Shout out to at Rex Corollas. All those guys.
The one and only.
The one and only. And we're going to keep rocking and rolling. Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you, Quana.
Well, all right.
Say sweet talk. What do you know about that all gas, no break?
Man, I heard about that all gas, no brakes. I don't think they gonna let me on. I ain't got a damn thing to talk about.
Fool, they talk about everything. This is all gas, no break. Don't step on the brake. Don't step on the brake. Don't step on the brake. Don't step on the brake.
Huh? What up, my boy?